puts it in. Had a pretty banging New Year's party.
Nice. But your place, or did you guys go out?
We rented a film studio space and decked it out with 1920s shit, and there was like 60 people there.
Cool.
And I drank a lot of scotch.
Yeah, that sounds cool as fuck. Love that stuff. The classic
Sounds like your voice is still fucked. James.
I've been hosting frogs in my throat for several days now. I don't know what the deal is, but it's fine.
The Scotchy frogs.
Yeah, the Scotch frogs.
It's great for podcasting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a vocal musk you've got on there. It's delicious.
Yeah. Haven't been playing much. Looking forward to all sorts of things in the spring, but right now it's kind of a weird woobly boobly in between space.
Which, speaking of that, I don't know if Paul, if you guys saw the message, but I was looking for some game on Switch. I can't even remember what it's called, but
Decay of Logos?
that's yeah.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
It looks like the extremely poor man's Zelda, like Breath of the Wild, you know. I did a quick Google on it. It's sitting at like 30% on Metacritic or something.
Yes.
So right,
that's
I figured
the kind
I'd
of
take
hot content that we need.
I'd take it for a spin.
Yeah, garbage games. Fuck yes, fire it up, man. Get in the car, man.
Hello, everyone. It is now officially the future. It's 2020. Our cyberpunk destinies will soon be fulfilled right here on Press X to Podcast. It's episode 3.1 for the week of January the 6th, 2020, which sounds really weird to say. I'm your host, Paul Sullivan. Alongside me, I'm going to attempt it. It's Rhett Wasselinchuk.
Yeah, Wasselinchuk. It was close.
Wasselinchuk.
And am I the only one that feels like I'm already ready for 2021?
There might not be a 2021 at this point, Rhett, but I'm up for that.
Perfect, man. Even better.
And James Paley, how do you feel about 2020 thus far?
You can call me Future James, y'all, because I am super ready for this shit.
Go on.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there'll be games. There'll be an apocalypse. It's gonna be dope. I will immediately die of dysentery. It's gonna be so good.
Real life Oregon Trail. It's gonna happen.
Oh, fuck. I am not prepared.
You gotta shoot 10 times as many buffalo as you actually need, and you can't carry it all back to the wagon, and Timmy falls in the river.
Those mechanics were wholly fucked. Like, if you can cap one buffalo, un bison, all right? You are good to fucking go. You and your family of 10 are eating large.
For a month. Easy.
Couple
weeks, yeah.
A couple 1,000 pounds of buffalo. There's got to be, plenty of meat and stock and
just,
bison tallow and whatever else.
Yeah. Burn some bison candles.
Yep. And when it's all done, you can make the fucking bison sleeping bag like Homer Simpson, you know? I always wanted one of those, man. That episode always made me so jealous.
Oh, man. How was your guys' New Year?
Good. You know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Average New Year's, to be honest. Nothing special. It sounded like James got up to a better New Year's than I did.
I partied and drank, and several people were there. And a lot of people who had never seen me dance before in a public setting were both delighted and a little alarmed. I was called a fucking animal no less than 4 times at the end of the night in that, like, affectionate, comrade-like way, you know, where people were like, "You're a fucking animal, man. Happy New Year." You know, that kind of thing.
You definitely did not Elaine Bennis it. It was better than that.
More energy and 5% more coordination.
Nice. Less thumbs, less kicks, and less thumbs.
Yeah.
Nice.
Don't be trying to go in 4 directions at once when you dance. People notice.
100%.
James, I've seen this. There are kicks. There are thumbs. They're just slightly more ordered and coordinated in a visually shocking yet pleasing fashion.
Yeah, you just you just make sure your whole body's moving in a certain direction at once, and people don't, temporarily lose their eyesight when they gaze upon you and your dance moves. It's fine.
Right. Is there footage of this? Can I see this?
If you have me on Facebook, it's almost certain that my girlfriend has posted multiple videos of me dancing like a drunken fool to literally whatever is playing.
I love it. We'll make that happen. Yeah.
I assumed pointing a camera directly at it is like kind of like looking at a welding arc. It just blows out the sensor. But
Yeah, it's you gotta do a little offset thing, 2 degrees from the center. It's very requires a lot of finesse.
oh man, well, I mean, this is a video gaming podcast. Did you guys get up to any games over the break?
A little bit.
Yeah,
James?
I'm with a little bit. A little bit is what happened.
Yeah, I had visiting to do. I saw some people in Victoria, and I hosted some people and hung out with some people, and honestly just kind of played more Pokemon and learned about randomizers. Randomizers are cool. They're not really modern or hype or with the kids, so to speak, but like, that's when you take a beloved ancient ass video game that you've beaten between 30 and 100 times, and some helpful coder puts it in a fucking blender, and you come out with something that is not exactly what you remember, and it makes it so it takes you more than one try and one open eye to beat the game. It's fun.
Yeah, randomizers are pretty cool.
Never heard of this.
My favorite randomizer is actually a mashup randomizer that makes you play a combination of Link to the Past and Super Metroid.
I tried that shit, and I found out the hard way that I don't know Super Metroid as well as I thought I did.
Yeah, you got to know it pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, randomizers are pretty rad if you like old games.
Yeah, that sounds cool as fuck. Is this a website? Like, what do I do?
If you type in like the ones I know are Link to the Past and Mario RPG, and if you just type in the names of those games and the word randomizer, you will find whole communities dedicated to like perfecting the code and like what rules you do or don't follow, or what updates they've made so you don't get like soft locked out of finishing because like the way the items were dispersed amongst the map like inadvertently fucked you. Like in Link to the Past, for example, if you don't get the torch at some point, you can't finish that game.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, you can, but it's unbelievably hard because a lot of the dungeons are pitch black, and like, what are you gonna memorize the route and just do it that way? No,
Right.
fucking animal.
Yeah.
Though some animals do memorize the route.
Yeah.
Those communities, there are whole, tournaments where people will all play the same seed and race basically through the randomizers, which is kind of a weird bit of subculture, but it's pretty interesting that people have coalesced in that way.
Oh yeah.
But James, you mentioned Pokemon. I'm happy but disturbed to report that I have contracted the Pokemon fever.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah, that's not a great game, and yet I am completely addicted.
Well, they've had like 8 iterations to make it shine and smooth, and you know what I mean? Like, they know exactly how at this point to get you plugged in.
I think that it's probably the best Pokemon game. It's definitely the best Pokemon game in the past like 3 or 4 generations, but I don't know, it might be the best one since the first ones,
I like the Dynamax thing and the whole raiding in the wild area and just screwing around in an area where you can be massively overmatched at the drop of a hat is pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's a nice change of pace.
One fun thing I figured out about the wild area is that once you beat the story portion of the game, everything you encounter is level 60.
Okay.
it bumps everything up because it's like you don't want to go wandering around fighting tiny little losers that you just like flick away with one finger. You come
Yeah.
back and they're all like beefed up, like they've been working out. They're ready to take you on.
Wow. I can't wait
Was
to get
that the
there.
was that the steroid cheek slap I heard?
Chest bump, yeah.
Okay. I thought you were tuning up the hamstring for a little pinprick.
No, nothing that precise.
No, but we were talking last time about how like the people that were talking shit about this game on Twitter before it came out, like they had never played the game. And I'm really seeing that. I'm really seeing like a lot of those arguments that they were trying to make fall apart as I'm playing it. The biggest one is that the people were talking about how it was like a 15-hour game. It was going to be a 10 to 15-hour game. Man, I've been casually playing. I've caught some Pokemon. I've leveled my team up a little bit. I'm 11 hours in and I don't even have the second badge yet. So who's beating this game in 15 hours? Are you guys ripping through it? James, did you rip through it as fast as I
If I didn't fuck around, I could probably have done it in 20.
Well, yeah, no, of course, if you're focused on just getting it done, but as a first time casual playthrough, there's no way you're getting that done in 15 hours.
Yeah, because
There's so much to see. There
Yeah.
really is. Like, man, the world is so beautiful too. I'm so like every time I come onto a new screen or like up to a new town, and you see like a gym in the distance and over the horizon and you're coming up to it, I'm just like, fuck, man, I can't believe Pokemon actually looks like this. It's about time, right?
There's some pretty rad design.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I mean, especially when you're in a wider open area, you can tell that the resolution is scaling itself down pretty low so that it runs. Like it looks super muddy, especially in handheld, but
in
the
dock,
design is great.
It definitely struggles at times in dock. Like every time you enter a battle with a trainer, there's like just a little bit of a frame rate drop, and there are other instances throughout the game that you see these little frame rate drops and it's like, it's tough not to notice them. It's fucking 2020. Like, why can't we smooth these little tiny dips in the frame rate out? But I don't know.
I think the Switch people, like developers, are finding out it's kind of a monkey's paw situation where it's really easy to develop for, but on the other hand, this is not new hardware, and you're going to run into the upper limit of its power real fast.
Yeah, that's a good point, which actually is a nice segue because I did see that Nintendo didn't say anything about it, but there's been a few reports that a new Switch is coming. Maybe mid 2020 we're looking at possibly like a Switch Pro.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Especially
right?
if they try to beat the PS5 and the new Xbox, just Xbox, to market and pull in the casuals before the bigger machines show up.
Yeah.
I think it will be one of those frustrating situations like we've seen in the last couple of generations, like how we had the 3DS and the N3DS, where it's like not a significant difference in performance between the two models, but you slowly realize that you've made a mistake sticking with the base model.
Totally.
Because there'd be like a handful of games that are like, you can't really play this on the base Switch.
Dude, that was exactly Pokemon Sun on the 3DS. I had the old 3DS, and like it just did not run. It was pretty bad. Like it was pretty bad. Getting into battles and stuff like that, like it would lag significantly.
I don't remember having that problem, and I had a very similar hardware setup where it was just like.
I remember when you would get into a 2-on-2 battle, like the game would barely run.
I don't know. It chugged a little bit coming in, and then it was just like, all right, whatever, we're here, let's do this.
Right.
But I tend to turn off battle animations as soon as I decide. Once I realize that I'm gonna do some grinding, I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm like, no, turn all that off. I don't care. I don't.
Yeah.
Wasting my fucking time.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense for sure.
Which I eventually did with Sword and Shield because I wanted to earn several $1 million to buy literally every item of clothing in the game. because I have a problem of some sort,
No,
and I'm very close.
the customization is fucking dope. You don't have a problem. People that are not spending their money on every piece of clothing have a problem.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pokemon. It's pretty much been dominating my free time playtime. The only other thing I really touched was some more Disco Elysium, which the more I play it, the more I think probably we had it too low on our top 10. That is an outstandingly well written piece of prose, game or not.
Yeah, I hear a slow but steady stream of praise for that one. Generally, anytime I dip my head into the news river, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, gameplay wise, it's nothing special. It's an old school click to go here RPG with very little in the way of mechanics, but the way it's written, it traverses so much ground from the highest highs to the lowest lows, and I'm really starting to get into the part of the game where the pieces of your psyche start battling with one another, or the needs of the more physical portion of the mind is at odds with one of the other perks maybe you've taken, and it feels very realistic as to how the human brain works and how you actually feel when you have to make a decision, and sometimes you go with something and it doesn't work, and you're completely locked out of this whole arm of the game because you didn't have the points, or you rolled poorly, or whatever happened. And I could see people not liking that and wanting to go back and reload saves and try to see everything, but it's truly a game that's not built to be seen in one run. And yeah, I don't know, it's really good if you've got a half decent PC, and I would definitely recommend picking it up.
I was gonna say it's not on anything aside from PC, correct?
No, it would definitely work on other consoles, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him port it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how long is the game, roughly?
Good question. I don't know because I haven't finished it. Maybe 10 or so hours into it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't think it's tremendously long, but
right.
Yeah.
Do you feel 10 hours in, do you feel as if you've hit the climax?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No. But it has a lot to say about the state of the world that you're in. It's definitely a little heavy-handed as to how it's trying to relate to our world, but it's a good piece of world building. Y'all play anything else? Rhett, you got a Red Dead Online update?
Red Dead Online, always. I've been playing that game. I actually just hit my... So they have daily challenges that you do in the game. Feed 5 horses, eat 5 cans of vegetables.
Wow, that sounds thrilling.
Absolutely thrilling. So it's stuff like that to keep you coming back. Of course, there's more than eating vegetables and feeding horses, but
is there though?
I mean, there's a couple other things that you can do in the game.
Okay.
But I just hit my 100 days in a row or something playing. So
damn.
I've been there. I've seen a lot. And man, the game is just so fucked right now. I feel bad for anybody that takes it seriously. Anybody that this is their game. I feel bad for them. It seems like every time they release an update, it's one step forward, 2 steps back. You know what I mean? They'll fix 10 bugs, but they'll make 11.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of I can see that this game is following the exact same trajectory that GTA followed, in that they released it on the PS3 360, and they promised this sprawling online world with these heists and all these missions and everything like that, and then there was nothing to do until the definitive edition of that game came out. the next gen version. Once they got the game onto the beefier systems, they were able to actually get the heists into the big game, get the updates rolling that they wanted to, get the content releases that they wanted to put into the game. They actually were able to get them out and get them running properly with however many people it was, 20 in a server or whatever. Red Dead is absolutely fucked in the same way that GTA Online was fucked in its first year or two.
Mm.
They're just kind of drip feeding us content until we get the next systems. And I don't know if I would assume because it's Rockstar that they are working on a definitive edition. Why wouldn't they? You know, they'll release that and make another $1 billion easily.
Yeah.
But it sucks right now, yeah, because we're definitely just getting this like drip feed of content that's kind of like just like wetting the palate enough to keep us going, but it's really like it's a pretty barren wasteland out there, if you know what I mean. Like the last update that they released, this Moonshiner's role, there was essentially, I don't know, maybe like 10 hours of new gameplay added to the game with this role. And as soon as you were done with it, you were back to essentially having nothing to do. And we're just kind of stuck in this state of them. Yeah, they release this new content and then there's nothing to do. They release this content and then there's nothing to do. And they'll drop like a new set of 5 clothing items in between, or or just little things like that.
That's weird. It seems like it should be pretty obvious how you build a decent Red Dead Online, and that's like,
it just
robbing
seemed
trains
like,
with your buddies, and
exactly,
it
it just
be
seemed
so easy
so
to pump that
obvious
stuff
to me.
out.
And they had the perfect template in GTA. They're making the same mistakes all over again, when to me it didn't seem like they needed to. Why? You have like 7 years of experience with GTA Online. Why isn't Red Dead, at least like content wise, things that you can do, not necessarily like items and things like that, because it's, the game is very much like about building your character and collecting items and like building building your collection of stuff essentially at this point. And so aside from doing that stuff, like there should have just been, they had such a good template with GTA Online as far as, like you said, missions, as far as like robbing trains and stuff like that. Like that just seemed like such a no-brainer to have in there at launch. Everybody's kind of sitting around. They don't know whether to shit or wind their watch. We don't know what's going on with this game. And unfortunately, it's looking like it's not going to be until the end of this year when we kind of know what's going to happen with it. And we have an idea of when this definitive edition is going to come out.
Well, I mean, they did put GTA 5 on Game Pass, so theoretically you could just go play that,
which is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
I was pretty surprised to see that, man. Game Pass just keeps on killing it. Microsoft continues to make their Game Pass the best deal in gaming,
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
while their studios are churning away on whatever it is they're making for the next Xbox,
Yeah.
like they gotta fill the coffers somehow. And if
Yep.
they keep getting those big gets like GTA 5, and they just had The Witcher 3, the games like that are what are going to keep people paying and hopefully get them to buy the next Xbox. I'm sure they're assuming they will.
Definitely.
I'm probably going to start playing The Witcher 3 again, thanks to the TV show.
Mm-hmm. You
So-
and several 100,000 other people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
PC?
No, I think I just got it on PS4 because, I'm not as cool as Henry Cavill, we'll say that much.
Which is still great. The game is beautiful on PS4.
Yeah. He basically plays the video game version of the character. Like his voice and Geralt's voice in The Witcher 3 are very, very similar.
That's what I was going to
They're
ask. Is he as gruff?
He's the best part of the fucking show. Like,
Love it.
hands down, full stop. Cavill absolutely fucking slays it in that role.
He's
Yeah,
a great
he's
actor,
great.
man. Yeah.
And some of the swordplay in that show is
holy
just outstanding, especially in the first episode. There's one scene in particular, I won't spoil it, but man, some of the sword fighting, it even has some of the stupid reverse grip sword fighting, and it doesn't look absolutely ridiculous just because Cavill does so well with it.
Yeah, you can tell he's really fucking committed to this role, which we kind of knew was going to happen because he's been extremely vocal about how big of a fan he is of the
Yeah,
franchise.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think that a lot of people were kind of like, "What, Superman? What?" Like, it was kind of like that Heath Ledger thing all over again, where people were jumping to conclusions about this. So he felt like he had to come out and be like, no, hold on. I'm a huge fan, guys. Like, don't worry. This is my baby now. So I've heard
Yeah.
nothing but good things, man. I'm looking forward to checking it out.
It's weird because I've heard a lot of people talk about how like various news sites and like official reviews like from professional outlets are really hard on the show. But like every like fan or like regular ass viewer I've talked to fucking loves it. Unapologetically, unironically thinks it's the best thing since sliced bread. And then like it's just this weird uh breakdown in perceptions between the professional one and the fucking personal one.
Yeah, I think some of it has to do with being familiar with the franchise and being familiar with some of the characters before you go into the show. As somebody who's played The Witcher 3, when you run across someone like Yennefer in the show, you're like, oh, I know who this is already, where it takes the show, half an episode or a whole episode before they actually tell you who this is. So
Yeah,
there's less to connect to. It'd be a lot harder to follow if you didn't have some familiarity.
There's zero hand holding. It most definitely knows who its audience is and caters to them.
Which I'm totally cool with.
For sure.
It's actually made me want to go out and pick up some of the Witcher short stories and try to get into that side of things as opposed to playing through the game again, because I don't have that kind of 100 hours to do that.
Yeah, apparently Geralt is a bit more of a relentless womanizer and not like in a cool way in some of his older books. And so like I know people who have read books in this series and they're like, if you're a fan, check it out, but if you're not a fan, don't do it to yourself.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I'll start light then. Start with a short story or two and see how that feels.
yeah.
Well, why don't we just move along and talk about some news, because there's some good news.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Rhett, you already brought up the new Switch potentially coming mid-2020. Basically, all the rest of the cool news lately has been about next gen. Most recently, that some moron who probably is not employed anymore posted a picture of him cleaning up a desk with a PS5 dev kit on it, thereby revealing the shape and form factor of the PS5 controller.
Fucking brilliant. Thank you very much, ex-employee. The
Looks
controller looks good. Honestly, I think it looks pretty good. It looks a little beefier than the DualShock 4, but they are maintaining the same, same look and feel.
Yep,
And,
still got the touchpad on there, which I'm happy to see. Hopefully they'll actually use that thing.
I like the touchpad. Yeah, exactly. Like you said, hopefully they actually use it, because when they do, it works really well. It's actually really cool. But yeah, there's 99% of the time it's a map button.
A huge button.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It kind of looks like a hybrid between the DualShock 4 and the Switch Pro controller.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got that like thicker body, The middle
I think
part
it
definitely
should feel pretty good.
Yeah.
But I'm a big DualShock kind of guy, so
definitely. I think the 4 might be the best controller I've ever used. And I think maybe a lot of that has to do with the fact that the 3 I hated. The thumbsticks and the R2 and the L2, I just absolutely hated those. I thought that the DualShock 3 was like terrible. But the 4, they fixed everything with it. So I think it's and like in the best way that they possibly could have. It's a super comfortable controller. So as long as it feels somewhat like that, maybe just with a little bit more heft to it, I think it'll be great.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be perfectly fine. I don't know. I don't have strong opinions about these things. They tend to like, in terms of like how the controller feels, I feel like they've been chasing a single idea for PlayStation's controllers since the first one.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're definitely right about that. That's why like the 3 was definitely a departure though. I think that they tried a couple like not that it looked entire or very much different at all, but they tried some things, especially coming from the 2. They tried a couple things like those 2 triggers, man, were just absolutely fucked. But they corrected it with the 4 for sure.
I do hope that the actual PS5 looks like the dev kit, because that would just be so ridiculous.
Oh yeah, man, like that fucking horseshoe nonsense.
Oh, please just make that the thing. It looks like a
Man, it's
Roman
cool.
V. Like, it's great.
It looks like something straight out of the 80s. Like, it looks
Oh.
like a fucking, like, a piece of demo tech that you would see. At,
I
like,
I want them to bring back nasty wood paneling
yes.
for consoles. Like,
That's fucking sick. Atari style?
yes.
Man, that's fucking sick.
They're Atari's next console is gonna gargle balls. So let's cannibalize the market, make a better wood paneled console that people will actually play.
100%. Atari could sign an exclusive contract with Sony to just wood panel all the systems.
Oh my god, dude, they're broke. Just take the design. What are they gonna fucking do?
Well, they have employees. They have employees that they still need to pay, you know. So
Well,
let's get these guys
yeah.
working. They can
can't-
wood panel.
they can't
get 'em paneling.
fucking- They can't patent wood. All right, listen, it's a losing battle.
It's that Atari wood. It's that Atari.
Yeah, I can see the lawsuit right now. This is the Atari grain, and it's harming our bottom line.
Definitely.
No, we're gonna fucking we're gonna fucking sneak in and steal that design and create something 10% different. Hey, speaking of consoles with the serial numbers filed off, at fucking CES 2020, Alienware showed off something that is just a Nintendo Switch. Like,
Really?
not like it's a prototype concept. Like, it's not anywhere close to release, but it is a Nintendo Switch. Like,
What?
yeah, I just posted a news article about it like an hour ago.
I gotta
And
pull this up.
Yeah,
Cogconnected.com for all your gaming news.
hell yeah.
Connected everywhere. Oh my god, yes. Yes, it is.
Wow.
Oh no, wait, they've got the A and B switched. It's fine.
Holy
It's fine.
yeah,
shit.
It's completely
right?
different.
Like,
It is. Look at the fucking controller.
yeah, that is, yeah, the separate controller is exactly what the
Oh,
Switch controller looks in with
this
the,
is
with
insane.
in the holders.
Now, I will say I like the colors. I like the blue little neon glowing through. That looks cool.
Yeah, it's not a cheap knockoff.
No. Certainly.
So wow. What? Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'd be interested if that plays actual PC games. That might be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
exactly.
here's my theory, right? If they want to get a multitude of PC games running on this thing, they're all going to have to run through the same software, which means either they're going to have multiple launchers on this thing, or we're getting another storefront, y'all.
Oh.
Yeah, it'll be Steam, EGS, GOG,
Origin,
and
Uplay.
Origin, and now fucking Alienware.
Alien Launch.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know what to call it.
Yeah,
I don't really buy that argument, though, that people are actually upset about that, because Steam has offered the option forever to just unify your library and put your other games into your Steam library so that you
Yes.
can just
Yeah.
browse that list and launch from there.
Yep.
It's really not that difficult, and I don't know what people are so pissed off about.
Yeah, that's fair.
But,
Because
you know,
people love
it's the
being
internet,
mad.
so what do you
it's
do?
fun. It's fun to be mad. It's
I
cool to
love being
hate,
mad.
like the Offspring song from the early 2000s. It's
People
cool to-
finally listened.
Yeah.
They finally listened to the Offspring.
Whoa. Pump the brakes here. People finally listen to the Offspring. Offspring are still banging.
I want
I'm
I
sorry.
want you
Still ripping
Yeah,
out the
I'm
same
sorry.
three power chords.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Okay.
God.
Name a song from them from the last 4 years.
Oh, that's not going to happen. But yeah.
Name a song
Okay.
from them after Pretty Fly for a White Guy.
Yeah, they had that. It was the one that was like. It was a big hit, man. It was a big hit.
The
2001.
prosecution rests. All right,
Yeah.
like enough, Rhett.
Fuck.
Yeah, I
Roasted.
got I got
Yeah.
bad news.
Sorry, Offspring. Hey, I tried, Offspring. I
I
tried.
got bad news, Offspring stands. All right.
The Offspring are busy hanging out with your boy Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Let's not
No.
let's not bring up that robbery.
Let's not lump these people together like that. That's
All right, all right.
okay. Okay. All right.
Getting back on track. Elsewhere in news was a big leak of testing data for GPUs and graphics stuff from next gen, which apparently shows that the Xbox is quite a bit more powerful than the PS5. Maybe.
Okay. So I see your notes, and you say that it's a difference of 9 or so teraflops
Mm-hmm.
versus 12 teraflops. Now,
Mhm.
here's the most important question: what is a teraflop?
Yeah.
A flop is basically a calculation. So a teraflop is a trillion calculations per second.
Okay.
So we
Oh,
got 12
man.
trillion versus 9 trillion. So,
S-
that's a good gap.
That is a good gap.
I feel like we've hit a point where, like, if your system can do 9 trillion calculations per second,
Yeah.
it's probably working just as hard as the rest of the system can possibly keep up with. 12 just feels like putting a giant fucking spoiler in the back of a Honda Civic. You don't have to. I've
So
seen people do that.
for perspective, the PS4 Pro is like 4 and the Xbox One X is about 6.
Okay.
So
And they perform very similarly.
they do.
Do they not?
They do. So that's the thing, is that there's a lot of other factors that come into play here, like how does the SSD system work, and how does the rest of the architecture work together? Like what tricks are being pulled in the background that make that 9 or that 12 perform somewhat differently. So, anyways, it's interesting and potentially points to PS5 maybe going for more of a mass market kind of price, maybe a $399 US, and perhaps the Xbox going back to the $499 or $599 even.
Oh.
Is that some of the smarter people on the internet, like Digital Foundry, did some calculations, and that 12 teraflop GPU would be like the biggest GPU AMD has ever made, including PC parts. So is that real, and is that cost effective? Maybe not. Who can say?
Well, yeah. I'm sure I'm just going to buy a PS5 because I have never bought an Xbox before now, and I see no compelling reason to break the streak.
Hey,
100%, man. Sony dominated this generation, and I'm gonna be sticking with them into the next.
Yeah.
I'll keep my eye on Xbox, and if it's sick, I'll get it. But
Yeah, I don't have a good reason, honestly. I just am a man with a limited income, and the higher percentage of games I like come out on PlayStation. That's literally it. I don't care which one is more powerful or which one, like, you know what I mean? Like, it
yeah.
doesn't fucking matter. Final Fantasy and all the weird Japanese RPGs come to PlayStation, so that is forever my jam. And that's it.
and that's probably the view of the vast majority of the audience too, that whatever one has the games is going to be the one. So, but who knows? Xbox
And
did
well,
buy 14 studios. So is that
it's interesting
14
you say
new
that though,
IPs? Who
because
knows?
hasn't Microsoft and the Xbox division specifically announced that the games, or at least there's going to be like a few Xbox exclusives that are now going to be open to, um, or possibly coming over to the PS4, Switch, PC, etc. They were talking about what was it? Was it Gears maybe? They were talking about one big like Xbox exclusive that they were gonna maybe work with Sony on in the future. I can't
Really?
remember which one they were said. Yeah. But yeah, I swear there's been a few discussions, a few announcements lately that have talked about how Microsoft has been looking to maybe not make their first party exclusive so exclusive, you know.
Well, I think they're less concerned about console exclusivity is because everybody behind the scenes is running the cloud race. So whoever figures out cloud-based gaming first automatically wins the console wars by transcending them. So like if Xbox gets xCloud or whatever working shit hot like before anybody else, then it no longer matters. They'll just be like, oh yeah, no, it's cool. You just buy this service forever and you never have to have our console again. And you can play it on whatever you fucking want and we win. We're going to make a castle out of $100 bills. Thanks.
Yeah, no, good point. So is Stadia the front runner then?
Fuck no.
Is Google, are they going to run away with this? 2020?
Yeah, that's going the way of Google Plus, boys. You fucking heard it here first.
Oh god, yeah, it's done. Yeah. It's got to be done. Phil Harrison's already packing his bags and he's on to his next gig, probably at Atari. You know, like it's just not happening for Stadia.
Oh, yeah. Tomb Raider's on sale again.
Yeah, but
which one?
All of them.
Yeah. There's so many. There's so many tombs to be rated.
All
for discount prices. It's not enough. You can't. Yep. They put Tomb Raider games on Stadia after we all got them for crazy deals on like every other major console, and it's just like, oh, now that you already own these things, would you like to buy them on Google
full price for
more money?
Oh yeah, I have not spent more than $10 on a Tomb Raider game in the past 10 years.
Yeah,
and they're good. Don't get me wrong; those are good games, but you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, would you pay full price for a game that's a portion of an old game?
No.
Not even for Final Fantasy VII?
Oh, you mean the remake coming out?
Yeah, the remake, which is going to be like a third the game. And
yes, yeah. I will pay full price because I'm a Final Fantasy acolyte, and I will worship at their temple in my sandals and my robe and make offerings to their fucking statues. Thank you very much.
That sounds nice, but wait a minute. They're only releasing a third of the game?
It's not all of Final Fantasy VII.
Really? Was this a recent announcement?
Well, they said they were going to chop it up into pieces. It's up in the air how many pieces. My money's on 3.
Yeah. Why not?
Maybe 2 to 3.
Yeah.
I think depending on how they rearrange things, it could be 2 because they've been showing screenshots in some of the like many updates they've been putting out that show off shit from kind of like the end of disc 1 or like up in the middle like that. And also, this is the most important part. Disc 3 is not super heavy on content.
True.
It's just like, okay, now that everything is fucked, and it's basically 30 seconds to midnight on the fucking apocalypse clock, I don't know, run around, do your side quests, and go fight God.
Yeah, beat the game or chase these ridiculous side quests.
Make the gold chocobo.
You know what? I would like to make a gold chocobo again.
Yeah. And then you get the super summon materia that like contains every summon in one materia slot, and then you combine that with the W summon materia that lets you do that action twice. Or is it mimic? There's something you can do. You combine that and then mimic, and then you can summon Knights of the Round 4 times in a row. And it's like, go make a sandwich. This is going to be a while. Also, this enemy is immediately dead.
Not even like make a sandwich. It's go out for dinner and come back, and this fucking shit is still casting. Right. That's got to be the longest summon in history, right? The Knights of the Round.
Holy fuck, it's so good and so long. It's all 13 Knights of the Round come in, be summoned, attack one after the other, and then your guy like gets annihilated. The second longest is Sephiroth's Southern Cross move, where he aligns every planet in the solar system in a fun shape and then sends an energy beam through all of them to nuke you into the fucking powder in the center of it. It's quite good.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how they handle that stuff. But
so good.
I think this is actually going to turn out pretty well. Just based on your impressions from E3, James, I think they're going to do a decent job, because it sounds like they're actually adding quite a bit of content as well. Some, peripheral and side stuff to fill out the world and make it make sense here in the future.
That's really the impression I'm taking away from it, is that, when was this announced? 2015?
I think so.
Right? Like, you can really tell that they're taking their time. It's a labor of love. They're not going to fuck this up. If it's 2 releases, 3 releases, if it's 3 releases, it's because they're confident that it's going to be 3 amazing games.
Well, they already fucked it up internally one time, because they had CyberConnect developing it, and they basically scrapped the project and gave it back to Nomura to make sure that, this was treated with the proper respect.
Is that why it's taking so long?
Yeah, they started from scratch about a year and a half in.
Motherfuckers.
Yeah. But here's one fun thing I've noticed in one of the preview videos, one of the trailers. For better or for worse, Don Corneo will be in the game. And people who've played the original know what that means.
Fuck yeah, man. I want Don Corneo in my party.
That's fair. He is just as eerily hot as everyone else is
I was
in this
just
new version
gonna
of Final
say.
Fantasy VII.
Is he hot?
And he's a goblin in the original version of the game, which not like an actual one, just like
No, but I'm looking at the original, and he is absolutely fucked. You're telling me that they made this guy hot?
Yeah. About
What?
2.5 times more fuckable than he is in the original game.
Look at the hamburger meat with the gold chain sticking out and the wine.
Yeah.
This is nice, actually. So wait. I'm gonna look him up. Look him up in the remake. Yeah, he does look pretty good in the remake.
Right? He's still gonna be a giant creep, which, and there's probably still gonna be some really problematic stuff in his section of the game. And I'm curious to see how they're going to handle that. My guess is poorly, because
my guess is not at all. Not at all. They're not even going to touch it. They're just they're going to spruce up the dialogue, and the voiceover is going to be typical anime schlock, and people are just going to accept it.
Yeah. Between handling it badly and taking it out, I'd kind of rather they just took it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so bad.
Dude,
I can't wait.
His chest is black. There's so much hair. It's just a black hole.
Oh, it's so good.
It's gonna be good.
Is Don? Does he make it into the first part of the game or the second part? Is he
the first for sure? He's right in there.
Yeah, he's in the first section. But yeah, that's coming out in March, which I feel like they would have delayed it by now if they weren't going to hit that.
If they're going to delay it, it'll be 30 days before the release date.
Yeah.
That's what they did with Final Fantasy 15, which we were waiting for like 7 years.
Yeah, they could delay it. It's at the beginning of March, so they could push it back like a month and still stay ahead of Cyberpunk. But they don't want to release after Cyberpunk.
No, that would be a death sentence.
Or if they do, it's got to go to the fall. It's got to go like way back.
Yeah,
they're like already working on the next installment, though. I feel like it's done.
Yeah, and combat looks good. Yeah, looking forward to it. And based on that, I thought maybe we'd just run through some of the 2020 games that have been announced and, get a hot take or two on some of those.
Some of these look so fucking good. Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just take this list as it comes. It came right from Wikipedia's 2020 in video gaming. Coming out this January, Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. That's a VR game.
Aside from the Telltale Walking Dead games, it's looking like this may be the first good Walking Dead game that we actually get.
Yeah, I played it at E3. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's like a little bit collectathon, a little bit run-based levels. The shooting felt good. The movement felt weird, like it does in VR, but not bad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Is this a PSVR one?
It is on PSVR. Yep.
Sweet.
Dreams is coming out in February on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it went gold, right?
Sure did.
Valentine's
Did you
Day.
guys
Sorry, go ahead.
did you guys see the fucking photos somebody was posting? They did a project in Dreams that was like an English breakfast, and I thought it was a goddamn photograph at first. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, this is looking crazy. I don't know how it works. How are some people making it look photorealistic and some people's games look like Minecraft, you know? Whether that's by intent or not, we'll see. But yeah, I'm pretty interested to get in here, especially because there's a VR version coming out.
It's really down to the creators. The tools that they've put in this thing are super robust as far as sculpting goes, or music, or scripting, or whatever it happens to be. There's a lot of tools for people to play around with here. And it's kind of down to their talent, to how, how adept are they with the tools.
Yeah.
That's how elaborate your game can be. There's really no limit. Like you'd encounter a limit eventually with Little Big Planet, but that doesn't seem to be the case here.
No, if you can make a photorealistic English breakfast, art-wise, you can probably do basically anything. See, it seems like a weird standard to measure by, but yeah.
Did you guys see that months ago somebody released essentially a perfect recreation of PT in Dreams?
Yes.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
It was
Man,
crazy
down to
good.
like the radio, the fucking dude on the radio was talking. I was like, what? How the hell is it? Like, so you can record voice?
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Yeah, man.
Dreams. February 14th as well. It's a little side note, but that will be my birthday, so. Will I be spending it with Dreams? Probably not, but it's on the radar for sure.
Listen, you spend the day after with Dreams. You go do hype birthday shit on your actual birthday. Don't spend your birthday learning to be a game developer. That's terribly sad. Please don't.
Birthdays are a license to do whatever you want and get away with it. So you
super
should
depressed
you should
thinking
do
about that.
whatever.
You're right, though.
Listen, even if you're like wanting to become a game developer, that's great. That's awesome. You go for it. Live your fucking truth.
Yep.
Don't let the first day you start be your birthday, which is also Valentine's Day. That seems like a hat trick of some sort.
Yeah.
Like a cursed alignment of the planets or whatever. Don't do that.
No.
After Dreams, there's a big gap up until the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which we've already discussed. Ori, Will of the Wisps.
Looks so good.
The first one is outstanding.
Amazing.
It's one of the best Metroidvanias in
if
recent
not
memory.
the best. Like, if anybody wanted to argue that was the best one, it would be tough to argue against it.
I'd put it like top 3 with maybe Hollow Knight and Axiom Verge.
Yeah. Yeah, Hollow Knight for sure. It's just, man, Ori, it's the color palette that does it for me. It's so vibrant and so beautiful. And, like, man, that game, who wasn't shedding a tear in the first 10 minutes of that game?
Oh, it's all down to the score, too. Like, it's got
Yeah.
great music.
Yeah, yeah. And, like, just the right amount of challenge, you know? At times it feels difficult, but never too difficult. You can always, like, kind of see the end in sight. You just got to get slightly better. and then when you get through, it feels super rewarding. I remember the first time I did that tree where like the water is shooting up the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good game. Looking forward to
man.
the second one. Yeah.
Another sequel, Neo 2,
Oh yeah.
which was that Japanese Dark Souls, dead rising from the grave kind of punishing.
It's
action
Ninja
game.
Dark Souls. Ninjas already get zombies and magic and demons and shit. It's all folded in, so you know.
I feel like
Is
this
this-
game might have a hard time in the wake of Sekiro.
I think in some ways they're distinct enough for there to be space,
Mm-hmm.
but also this one, if I'm not mistaken, is done by some people with a lot of ninja experience under their belt.
You could be right about that. You could be right.
You know what? I'm gonna look it up right now. I have to fucking know this. This is important for posterity and for the future. It's Team Ninja. It's Team Ninja. So fucking
shit,
yes,
it's right in the name.
absolutely. Yeah, they those are the Ninja Gaiden guys. These are the fucking. They're the guys. All right, like they're the guys that know ninjas.
Oh, Neo was on PS Plus a few months ago, I think. So maybe
Yeah.
I gotta touch that. If that's basically New Age Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a marriage of Ninja Gaiden and Dark Souls, which is the sort of thing that scientists in a horror movie would expressly forbid you from creating.
Pull a massive
Like-
lever
yeah.
and lightning strikes the two objects.
Ian Malcolm will show up and be like, "My God, what are you doing? This is forces you don't understand. What are you putting these things together for?"
With an alarming amount of chest hair.
Yeah, all of it, obviously.
Oh, amazing. I can't wait. Neo 2, it's going to be great.
Yep.
Then we got Doom Eternal, which I kind of forgot about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bethesda did such a good job carefully putting its head up its own ass with such like precision and care and thoroughness, I guess,
Mhm.
that like we all sort of forgot that they were doing other things. Like this game, which looks pretty dope.
It
honestly.
does. Yeah, it does look like maybe the best Doom ever.
It's
it
like the
really is
looking
looking
one
very
if you
good.
also had a hook shot and a jetpack.
Yeah, exactly. The
it's-
last one was so good. It was so smooth. So, so like effective in what they were trying to do. And this, like you said, it looks like everything that the last one did cranked up.
But also, they really, really fucked up the last Wolfenstein game. So I wouldn't put it past them to fuck this one up.
It's interesting.
We'll see.
Yeah, there was a Wolfenstein. I thought the last Wolfenstein game did well.
So there was Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, which was
Yeah.
a couple of years ago. And then last year there was Youngblood, which
Okay.
they
okay.
kind of tried to RPGify it, and it was not good.
Okay.
Mm-mm. It was
Did they
disappointing.
accidentally create bullet sponges?
They did.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a cardinal sin.
Fuck. I hate
like-
that.
Like, if I'm pumping bullets into the Nazis should die. That's the way it works. And the Nazis, they pump bullets into me, I should die. That's the way
That's
it
what
should
killed.
work.
That's what killed the Division 1 for me.
Yeah.
Bullet
Yeah, they
sponges,
had to
man.
work really hard to fix that. Like that was the big initial complaint with that game, and it took a long time for them to fucking balance that properly. Because it's as soon as you add levels and stats into a shooting game, you run the risk of a bullet sponge situation, which
Yeah.
coincidentally is one more reason that Borderlands can fuck itself off a cliff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah. Anyways,
Anyways,
Bleeding Edge.
yeah, Bleeding Edge. That's the new one from Ninja Theory? No.
Yeah.
Ninja Theory. Yes. Ninja Theory.
What's this all about? Okay.
It's like Overwatch with swords.
Oh.
It's pretty
Really?
cool.
All you need to say about that.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun. Then I will be shocked if this actually comes out when Wikipedia says it's going to come out, but Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah, that's not a 2020 release, is it?
They say it's coming in
Yeah.
March.
End of March.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's probably going to be great, and I'm sure the 30 or 40 people who are actually able to play it will have nothing but good things to say about it. But like,
I was like, I'd probably like to play Half-Life Alyx, so I looked up how much a Valve Index costs in Canada, and it's like $1,400.
Oh my god. I don't think my PC could run Half-Life 2 at this point.
your phone that you have in your hand right now could run Half-Life 2. I think your computer could do it.
Honestly, man, I think my graphics card killed itself. I really do.
Okay, but that sounds like a personal problem, not related to the power and potency of Half-Life 2, which is older than some of our audience. Yeah.
Oh, easily. That's like 2001, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it's an amazing game. Nobody's going to play it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, how long do you think before they are forced to port it to non-VR? Or is the VR so integral and this is so game-changing that it's the only way to play it, and it makes VR the new standard?
I think it's Valve, and they've been very stubborn about Half-Life 3, and I think that they'll be stubborn about this game. I think that it's not going to come to flat. So
Yeah, I think it's a mix of both of your predictions. I think it's gonna be VR essential, like you can't play it any other way, and I don't think it's gonna be the innovator that Gabe and Co. hope it's gonna be, because I think that Gabe Newell's days of innovation are done.
You could be right.
Just because like a creative type kind of, in my experience at least, it helps to be working in that sphere regularly. And I feel like him and the team have been kind of resting on their laurels for long enough that they might be out of step with the rest of the landscape. And they might just have to be landlords of the fucking digital gaming space from here on out if they want to keep their profit margins where they like them.
Mm-hmm.
And that they are consistently wrong about VR like everybody else is, because we desperately want this to be a thing because we all grew up seeing this shit on TV when we were kids.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of threes, here's one that's going to be successful, unless you had something more to say about Half-Life there, Rhett.
No.
Yeah, speaking of successful threes, Resident Evil 3.
It's going to be sick. It's going to be sick. It's going to be so much better than the original. Not that the second one wasn't, the second RE2 remaster.
Yeah.
Not that that wasn't better than the original, but this one obviously. Like, I think RE3 is generally considered the worst out of the three originals, right?
Several thousand people would disagree with you, but that's fine.
Several. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I think that it's going to be much, much better. People are going to, they're not going to shit on it like they did originally.
I think people will like it, but I don't think it's going to do as much as RE2 did with its remake.
No, it's definitely not a better game. Unless they entirely remake RE3, which they won't do, obviously. It's certainly not a better game than 2. So I agree with you there.
They could just use the same engine they did for 2. I think it's going to be
totally.
Oh yeah, definitely. Will. Yeah.
But I think maybe they've painted themselves into a corner, because the big thing in RE3 is the Nemesis, who chases you around all the time, but they just did that in RE2. They turned Mr. X into that.
Yeah.
So where do you go with the Nemesis? How do you make that scary?
I guess they changed him in a different way. So they're like, oh, we're just going to switch up something about RE3 to make it a more interesting, exciting experience.
Yeah, maybe.
Or they fucked themselves and it won't be as good.
It's one of those two things, James.
Yeah.
Little side note, did you guys ever see any of the videos of the modders that took the Tyrant from RE2, the remake, and they changed him into I saw one that was like DMX. So every time he would bust through the wall, X Gon Give It To You would start blasting. Did you guys ever see any of that? Hilarious.
Every 2 weeks, somebody figures out how to put somebody else into that role. The most recent one was Doctor Disrespect.
Okay, yeah.
And the RE2 modding community is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like they modded Mr. X to be Thomas the Tank Engine as well.
Oh yeah.
Which
Oh,
that shit is terrifying coming down the hallway.
Right?
Yeah, that's fair. Terrifying.
After RE3, that's when we're into Cyberpunk.
I mean, game of the year? Is
Probably.
it going to do it? Yeah.
I mean, it's
got
clearly the front runner.
It's got Keanu. How could it not be?
Okay, I don't give a fuck. that
Easy.
I don't.
Let's pump the brakes here, okay?
He's gonna be the talking head that hangs out and gives me mission details and fleshes out the story, which is not exactly why I'm playing Cyberpunk 2077. So,
yeah. I mean, I would be surprised if he's in the game like that much,
he apparently has like the second or third most
Yeah.
lines out of
Behind
anyone.
the main
really?
character, he has the
Yes.
most lines.
Well, there you go. Well, I love it.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a significant presence.
Yeah.
love it.
Seen the game in action twice. It's going to be really great. If it's
Can't
not,
wait.
I will be absolutely shocked.
My goodness, I can't wait for this one.
Up next, I don't know anything about this, but it had the name that I figured James would know about. Trials of Mana.
Oh yeah. Here's a couple fun facts about this one. It's based on the Legend of Mana Secret of Mana 3, which never came out in North America before last year.
Arguably the
So-
best one.
Yes. However, there's like 6 or 7 or 8 characters you can play, and at least one of them is not good. There's a shield guy, basically. And everybody, when they level up, they have certain stats they can level up that help with their like primary duty. And pumping points into shield guy's stats as well as thief guy's stats is actually fucking pointless. Like their block stats, there's a couple stats that don't improve by any significant margin, no matter how many points you pump into them. Like their performance in game doesn't really change. It's like a weird balancing bug that's been in place in the game since modders made an English version of it all those years ago, and they figured that maybe they would patch that or fix the balancing in the like English version of the original that came out this last year, and they didn't. And I think they're not gonna fix that for the 3D version. So, mostly a great game. However, look it up. There's a couple of characters whose main stats there's literally no point in improving because it doesn't make them any better at that task, and it's just like a waste of your time and energy. It's a weird thing that everybody knows about and nobody's fixed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Just-
hopefully they fix it or not. Whatever.
Yeah. They won't. Let this be your warning. If you're going to play this game when it comes out, look that shit up, know about it ahead of time, plan your playthrough around this fact so you're not like coming back 30 hours later. Why does this character gargle my balls? What's going on? And then we'll say, we told you, man. We fucking told you.
We did
Look out
tell
for
you.
that ball gargling.
Yes. Like the little machines they have on golf courses. Dip
Uh,
it right in, swim around.
well, speaking of
right.
ball gargling, Gears Tactics?
Oh.
I've absolutely no interest in this.
No, is Marcus
I-
Phoenix gargling balls now? Is that part of the story?
It's
No.
like if XCOM was Gears.
I have heard things about this game that it is going to be good. Maybe I don't know. It looks more interesting. Like the aesthetic looks like a problem, but I think gameplay wise it might be good or
Okay.
terrible. What am I fucking Nostradamus?
I mean,
I've no idea.
it's got strong competition though. Like Phoenix Point, which just came out, is pretty damn good. So they've got to do something different if they want to really make a splash in that XCOM space.
Yeah,
I don't know that the Hammer of Dawn is enough.
Right. Gears 5 came out, and it's a very well-made game. Lots of content and everything, but, man, I'll be damned if that isn't essentially Gears 1. you know? That game looks
Yep.
and feels like Gears 1. It feels like nothing's changed, you know? So I commend them for doing something different for sure.
Yeah, for sure. After that, next thing would be the Avengers, Marvel's Avengers.
Looking forward to it. I'm excited about it.
I hope it's great.
Yeah, exactly. I really, really hope that this is good. I want it to be good so badly.
So when I saw it at E3, I was shocked that they were showing it because it did not show well.
Oh,
It looked pretty rough, and I don't know. The action stuff was like action games of 5 or 10 years ago. You know?
Yeah, like I certainly have not been convinced by what they've released so far. This little bit of like off-screen footage and the trailers that they've released, like I've certainly have not been convinced. So
Yeah.
that
Well,
sucks. That
like-
sucks to hear.
I feel like as far as like games with all the hype, Jedi Fallen Order looked like crap when they first showed it off.
Yeah,
That's true.
publicly.
Yep.
good
Yeah,
point.
That's true.
It turned out better.
Good point.
Yeah,
But this is an action game with divided up between multiple characters with multiple combat styles over a series of what I'm assuming are going to be complicated linear set pieces. So it might be a shitbox. It's like they might be biting off more than they can chew in terms of design, and I
Yeah.
applaud them for the effort, but this might be impossible.
I think the challenge is making a game where you can play as a character like Thor or the Hulk, who are literally invincible, and making that feel okay when you can take damage from a random human.
I think
How
one
do
of
you
the-
get there, right?
I think one of the things they'll have to do is that it's going to be very on rails in a sense, where like certain parts of certain stages you'll be playing as certain characters because that part of the level will be designed for a specific character.
Yeah,
And then it'll like for example, when you're playing as Hulk, it won't be about whether or not you can survive. It'll be like a timed thing where you have to like do a certain amount of damage or break through obstacles. You know what I mean? Where you have to like get somewhere really fast or like whatever with all of your strength. Like it'll be less about, oh, can you survive, and more about go to a place quickly and with flash and panache. And then other characters, it'll be more of a survival or more of a like combat skill situation.
yeah.
If they want to do it properly.
That could work great.
Yeah.
I hope it's outstanding.
I really hope I didn't just in 40 seconds come up with a more viable combat system than they did over the course of 5 years. We're gonna see.
Well, we'll
Guaranteed.
revisit this in May, and I will save that soundbite for then, just in case it becomes relevant.
Okay.
After that, Xbox is pushing this one pretty hard. Wasteland 3. It's kind of a classic RPG. Looks pretty good.
Yeah. I've not heard of this up until this very moment. Wasteland 3 from the screenshots. Hey, man, the screens look pretty impressive.
It's kind of like one of the older Fallout games where
Yeah.
you're
It's
alive
got a
in
lot
the
of
apocalyptic wasteland.
That's cool. And
Yeah.
sorry, who's the developer? In Exile Entertainment. What have they done?
Wasteland 2, Wasteland.
2.
Yeah, probably just Wasteland.
No, Bard's
They-
Tale. The Bard's Tale.
Bard's
I've
Tale's
heard of
one.
that. Yeah.
One of the studios that was purchased by Xbox.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another apocalyptic wasteland, The Last of Us 2.
Fuck yeah.
One of the other contenders for Game of the Year.
Now, I will say with this, from what I've seen so far, I do not know if I buy a 15-year-old girl doing what she's doing to these guys. Like, there are some, what seem like 250-pound grown-ass men that she's, like, fist fighting.
Yeah.
Hey, counterpoint. Last year at E3, or like last June, they showed a long, protracted combat sequence. And from what I remember, it was one sprightly young woman struggling in the most brutal way possible to murder a guy. And at the end of it, you were just like, wow, I feel bad for everybody involved in this. That
Yes.
was fucking horrible. But
100%. But they did this with the first game. They showed the first trailer that they showed for the first game showed a very, very similar scene, and then the game played very, very differently.
oh yeah, so like eventually, like as you get used to like the fighting, she turns into a super soldier.
But not even that. Like the game, I remember the first trailer that they released for the first game just made it seem like so much more cinematic and so much more movie like than it actually was. And I think that the same thing is going to happen with the second game, and that what they've shown off right now is either stuff that they cooked up specifically for like the game shows that they released this footage at, or it's like, specific parts of the game that
I
are going
mean,
to play out in a very
that
specific way. And
that
then,
makes sense to me because like Naughty Dog is kind of mostly about story, and a
yeah,
lot of the best moments are just going to be in the narrative rather than the gameplay.
yeah,
Naughty Dog games are basically really awesome movies that you have to pause every once in a while and like press a bunch of buttons so you can get back to the show that you like.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The first trailer that they released for this game, to me, it looked like the gameplay that they were showing off looked more like a movie to me than any game I've ever seen in my life. And I just don't know if it's actually going to play out like that. I don't know if while you're playing this, it's going to, like, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. If you had somebody sitting on the couch next to you watching it, they wouldn't know the difference that this is a game versus a movie. It looked like that in that first trailer. When she's like laying underneath the truck and the guys are searching for her, and she pulls out the pistol slowly, and you actually like see from the time that the shot's taken to the hole going through the dude's head to the blood leaking out of the bullet wound. It's crazy. Like the amount of detail is crazy, and I just don't know if it's going to look like that come release, if
Well, I
it's
mean,
going to actually
the
play
Naughty
like
Dog kind of has that pedigree, though. That's what they've been known for every game they put out, especially most recently Uncharted 4 really pushed that seamless marriage of gameplay and cutscene to a new height. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Last of Us 2 take that another step further and be even more seamless, even more integrated.
You're right, but the jump from Uncharted 4 to The Last of Us 2, if it's going to be as cinematic as that first trailer made it look, that is going to be a huge jump. Because yeah, you're right that in Uncharted 4, like things would happen seamlessly enough, but when you were playing, you knew you were playing. In The Last of Us 2, that trailer, man, at times it made it look like you didn't know if you were actually playing or not.
Listen, if they blur the line, it's going to make it difficult to actually play the game. If you're like, oh no,
True.
this
Good
is
point.
basically a cutscene,
Good point.
and then you're dead, and you're like, what happened? I don't understand. It's like, no, you stopped playing and started watching because you couldn't tell the difference.
Good point.
And
But then don't show me a trailer that seamlessly blends gameplay and cutscene to the point where I don't know if I'm playing or not. That's what Ubisoft did with Watch Dogs 1, where that first trailer they released, it looked like a fucking movie. It was insane. And then the game came out and it was nothing like that. Now, obviously, Naughty Dog is not Ubisoft and they wouldn't pull that, but like I'm saying, don't show me that footage if it's not going to play like that. I'm curious to see if it's actually going to look as cinematic as it does.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, I kind of hope it does, but as long as they're
Oh,
putting
don't get me wrong.
enough HUD elements and so on to make it obvious what is up.
Like don't get me
that'll
wrong.
be fine.
I totally hope it is. I hope it's as cinematic as it looked. I hope that the game plays exactly like that first trailer that they released. And to me, like, I think that that's pretty cool if they blur the lines between you watching a cutscene and you playing the game. If you don't even know, no, I mean, I shouldn't say that. You obviously should know when you're playing, but if they're able to blur the lines as much as they made it seem like they have in that first trailer, I'm totally for it. Yeah. But it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen.
okay.
James is feeling delicious about this.
And again, I don't buy a 15-year-old getting into a fist fight with a 250-pound grown-ass man.
Have they shown that though? Have they
I'm
shown?
they've shown
Ellie
some
beating
like
up a giant guy with her fists.
but they've shown close enough. They've shown some encounters that are close enough. Now they did unveil that Joel is going to be a part of it. So if Joel is getting involved in some of these
I was
fights,
gonna ask, Rhett, have you recently fought a 15-year-old girl? Is that why you're like sounding so authoritative on this subject?
I'm not a 250-pound grown ass man, but if I
But
were
you
to,
have recently fought a 15-year-old girl.
And she was
Is that what you're
savage.
I
Yeah.
plead the fifth.
I mean,
You
I'm just saying,
fuckers.
if you're kicking the shit out of teenagers on the reg, like, dish, man, come
Okay,
on, don't hold
you
back
got
the
me.
details.
You got me. You figured me out. God damn. This fucking podcast, man. It's going to be the death of me.
I know,
Yeah.
maybe, no.
So Axiom Verge is looking pretty good. Axiom Verge 2.
Listen, as somebody here who's actually played the first one, it could literally be a carbon copy of the first game with a different story, and I would immediately buy it.
Yeah, the
Axiom
first one
Verge
is
a
incredible.
it's a fucking triumph.
Mm-hmm. The first one did a lot of really cool stuff, playing around with the idea of retro games. So a lot of your powers would glitch the world. So where you might see in an older, like an NES style game, a glitch in the graphics or something, like that glitch would mean something in Axiom Verge, and you would have a power where you could affect that glitch or glitch the game to get to a new area. It was very clever and made by one guy. So
Also, it had this like sci-fi horror element to it.
yeah,
That was surprisingly potent for a pixel art game. Like I felt like genuinely perturbed at times. I
and
was just like,
and
okay, this
just
is
a
really well done.
banging soundtrack too,
Oh yeah.
real banger. A couple more twos: Bravely Default 2 and Dying Light 2.
If they do for Bravely Default 2 what I hope they do, where they don't make you play the game 5 times in a row to finish it, then I'm totally down with whatever they try.
Yeah, the first one was kind of a weird way to go for a JRPG, but it was just unique enough to stand out. Even if I didn't find the gameplay as stimulating as some other JRPGs, but the gimmick was enough. So if they can bring the core quality of the experience up and maintain that gimmick, or bring on whatever new gimmicks they want, it could be pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys covered that, because Dying Light 2 is, aside from Cyberpunk and Last of Us 2, I would say Dying Light 2 is my most anticipated game of the year.
Me too.
For sure.
It's going to be sick. The first one was so good. Like the first person parkour was done better than Mirror's Edge. Climbing and scaling, zip lines, like, man, everything was just so seamless. It was such a fun game. And zombies, like, man, the day to night transitions and not wanting to get caught out at night. Oh man, Dying Light is such a good game. And the second one is looking like it's going to be everything the first one was, but better. Because the first one certainly did suffer from bugs and some, annoying glitches and things like that. So hopefully the second one, they iron that stuff out. But
Yeah,
I'm really
I feel
looking
like
forward to
they're
this.
delaying it to make sure that it's as good as it can be. They obviously don't have a huge marketing budget behind them, being a smaller developer, even if they've got a ton of people working on it, but smaller budget. Yeah, this was probably the most impressive demo I saw at E3 last year.
Yeah, it looks really good.
It looks awesome. For impressive demos, followed closely by Ghost of Tsushima. It's gonna be awesome.
I don't know. That looks difficult to describe my feelings about that game from the tiny bit we've seen so far from Sony. It looks speaking of like blending cinema moments and gameplay, it looks
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically a Kurosawa film, right?
Which, fuck me if they actually managed to like build an homage to his work in a video game. That would be an achievement, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm curious to see what the actual gameplay feels like. Like, is this Soulsy or is this more action heavy? Is this, is this supposed to be a challenge, or are you supposed to breeze through it a little more and just experience the world? Like, I don't know.
I'm sure they'll hit you with the 4 difficulties, one of them being excessively difficult. But
Master Samurai difficulty.
Exactly. Yeah. It just feels like it's gonna be a bit gamier. We were talking about this last time, but it feels like it's gonna be a bit gamier than that first trailer would have us believe. That first trailer was so cinematic and so beautiful. The one samurai who's like barely moving, and the guy attacks him, and he, in the blink of an eye, he cuts him up 4 or 5 times. It seems like it's gonna play more like Sekiro.
So I did actually watch someone play through that section of the game.
Yeah.
And it played out like that. A little bit
Right.
differently. He moved the character around a little bit more while that was happening, but that's definitely going to be in the game in
Wow.
generally that form.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
But like that, moments like that are not the loop, are they?
I don't know. That's
Yeah.
the thing. I don't think we really know what the loop is.
Well, I mean, but the last trailer that they showed off, I thought that they showed the guy kind of flying around and attacking dudes again. I thought that it looked a bit more like Sekiro than it did.
Yeah.
I mean, at least when they first showed it off, that's what I'm saying. It just looked a bit more gamier, like Sekiro does.
Honestly, I hope it's its own thing. I hope it's not trying to ape
Definitely,
anything else.
Definitely. Yeah.
But I guess we'll see. Gods and Monsters, which Ubisoft announced last year with probably the shortest trailer I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And they just, I don't know. It looked like 3D ActRaiser or something.
Yeah. Ubisoft's answer to Legend of Zelda.
With way, way more icons on the map. Maybe.
A list of things to tick off, yes.
Yeah. Halo Infinite. Any Halo fans? No, neither of you guys have Xboxes.
The franchise exists and is objectively good. I don't know. Is that...
let me stop you there, James. The franchise was objectively good. Halo 4 was tolerable. Halo 5 I thought was outright bad.
Wow.
I did not enjoy that game at all. Obviously, the production value and whatnot was still outstanding, but I think by the time they got to Halo 5, they'd really lost what had made Halo Halo, and that was Bungie. And it just didn't feel like Halo game. It was way too far into the direction of Call of Duty, and I don't know, it's just, I lost the ability to connect to that thing.
Is this new one a sequel to 5?
Hard to say. Maybe?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with James on that. I'm aware it exists. I'm aware it's objectively good. Halo.
Halo.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
objectively good.
Yeah, they'll put that on the fucking box art.
Yeah.
They'll be like, somebody said it was objective. Oh, we'll sell 1 billion
That's
copies
going to be on the
now.
first box. It's objectively good. Cog connected.
Mhm.
Get that fucking Polko from us.
Please, I'll approve that. Up next, Kerbal Space Program 2. That first game is so good.
Yeah, this will be cool.
Yeah, I don't know. It's unobtrusive. Doesn't take up a lot of space in the hype sphere, but it will absolutely be a rock solid entry in the series.
Gonna skip down the list a little bit. We got Flight Simulator, which will be planes.
Man, it's gonna redefine the genre, the flight simulator genre, though. It's looking
Hey,
crazy.
I don't know if you're being facetious or not. The graphics are so good, I literally cannot tell it was a video
No.
game. It is fucking unsettling. Um,
Yeah, no, it's looking
it,
amazing.
it will make your GPU actually melt inside of the fucking casing. Be wary of Flight Simulator.
100%. Yeah. Please come with a proper setup to run this game, but
Holy shit, yes.
I mean,
man,
although Wikipedia did have this listed as coming out on Xbox as well. Like
really?
Xbox One.
Oh, fuck off. No way.
Yep, that's what it
Yeah.
said.
It'll run with legendary jank on Xbox One for sure.
Yeah.
It's basically
Well,
a
yeah.
slideshow.
No,
Yeah.
if Flight Simulator is your thing, 2020 is your year. This is going to be a big fucking deal for you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Hellblade 2 we've talked about like last time we did a regular podcast, and if it actually looks that good, that's going to be pretty unbelievable.
Yep.
The first game is so good. If you haven't played it, it's just this deep descent into the mind of someone with true psychosis, and hearing voices and stuff. If you've got headphones on and you're playing that first game, it's truly disturbing. Yep, probably going to be a standout for the new Xbox.
That's supposed to be a launch title, isn't it?
Yep,
Yeah.
launch window anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
Getting down to the bottom of the list here. A couple of pixel art games: Streets of Rage 4 and Windjammers 2.
Yep. I don't have strong thoughts on Streets of Rage. Well, I mean, I feel like a beat 'em up game is a bold move given how old that genre is and how few improvements there've been.
Yeah.
River City Girls was a great beat 'em up, but it
Mhm.
also was like a densely packed homage to all the games that came before it, with like cameos and nods and Easter eggs and like all this sorts of shit. And unless they can pull the same thing or innovate in some way, I feel like it might be a blip on the radar.
I mean, they did get the composer from Streets of Rage 2,
Oh, well, fuck yeah.
which is
Good start.
well, that is a soundtrack. That is a soundtrack for the ages.
And the
Yeah.
art style really pops for Streets of Rage 4. Like, it looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, no, I'm in the same boat as James again.
Yeah.
I just don't know how much interest there is. And I just reviewed, actually, Fight and Rage, which is a beat 'em up, definitely an homage to the classics and everything. It even comes with like a CRTV mode that you can turn on, and it makes it look like you're playing on an old school TV. But the game, like, again, we've been talking about objectively good games. It's objectively fantastic. Like, tons of content. The fighting is cool and everything, but just like James said, I'm not sure how much of an audience there is for these games.
Yeah,
and
it's nothing
I
new.
would not be surprised if this was a blip on the radar, like you guys said.
Yeah.
Taking on the yearly mantle of Tales games, Tales of Arise. There's got to be one of those every year, right, James?
Every 2 years, I think,
Okay.
is a more accurate assessment. But yeah, they come out pretty regularly. Unless something has drastically changed, I think it still applies. If you've played Tales games in the past, you have a reasonably good idea of what to expect from the new one.
Yeah, and you already know if you're going to like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, I don't give a shit because I tried the Tales series, didn't gel with me. That's fine. It's got an audience. It'll probably do great.
Yeah, there's one I reviewed quite a while ago, Tales of, I want to say Braceria or something like that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
one, I was
Braceria.
like, okay, this is a thing. It's not for me. Yeah, very bottom of the list here. Watch Dogs Legion.
Is this actually going to come out in 2020?
Maybe.
Yeah, it was supposed to be early 2019, wasn't it?
No,
It was supposed to be
no.
early this year, and they
Yeah,
pushed
Oh,
it back.
we just got the announcement last June. So
But it was unveiled in 2018, right? I
Nope.
believe it was.
Nope. Last
Oh,
E3.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah.
God damn, man, time flies.
I know.
Yes.
I at the time of E3 when I played it for a bit, it was early for sure. But it seemed like it was delivering on the promise of the original Watch Dogs of do anything, be anybody. Whether that carries through to the full experience, anybody's guess right now, but it seemed like it had a solid base. It felt a lot more weighty, a lot more substantial than the past games, which, in my opinion, were way too floaty.
Yeah.
So we'll see on that one, but it looks pretty good.
Yeah, because in this one now you're able to jump from the 20-year-old college student to the 70-year-old grandma to the 45-year-old restaurant owner, right? You're able to jump between all these types of characters.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can, and
Should
that
be
system
interesting.
does work.
Should be very interesting.
And the last one, Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is Yakuza 7, the one that they decided should be turn-based.
Right. The turn-based Yakuza. Right, right.
I think that opens the floor up to some true insanity. I think a turn-based system means that the fights and the mini games and the whole experience can go to 11 all the time if they want. Like, I think that's one thing people aren't maybe anticipating. Like, we're going to change the combat system and it's going to suck for some reason. But turn-based games can get completely bananas because it just gives you a lot of flexibility within that rigid system. And I think they will exploit this well.
Totally agree. I may be in the minority here, probably, but I can't remember if it was 4 or 5 that I bought on the PS4, but it was the first one I had played, and the combat system honestly turned me off. It was just kind of, you're talking about floaty games, Paul. This one felt kind of floaty. In the combat, I never really felt like my strikes were landing, like my combos. The combos weren't very interesting, I should say. Maybe the turn-based one is exactly what I need.
They definitely have a way with games that are so weird that they're attractive. So
yeah.
Maybe that's why they decided to go with the turn-based route this time. If people aren't identifying with this kind of generic third-person action, blah 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 blah, but we've got these crazy ideas for the world, let's try turn-based and then just let our insane ideas shine.
Yeah,
could be. And that's it. That's all the games that are coming out in 2020.
All right. Well, all the big ones.
Wait, we didn't have WWE 2K21 on here.
I mean, it wasn't listed on the page, therefore it's probably not coming out. I actually wouldn't be surprised if they skipped a year after 2020.
No, exactly. Yeah, I would be surprised if they did release this game this year.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that. The fact that WWE 2K20 stopped working as soon as the clock turned to 2020
how
because
funny
the code
is that
broke.
Story? Yeah, like actually, how funny is that story when you think about it?
A goddamn Y2K story 20
yeah,
years after.
Yeah, like
hilarious.
But what are the odds
game
that somebody from the outgoing team Ukes just like put this little present in there as a nice little fuck you as they were out the door?
Little gift. Yeah, because they were kicked out like midway, right? Or I don't know if they were kicked out or they left, but either way.
They were repurposed to another project or something.
A parting gift,
no
doubt.
I can see it.
Thanks, guys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, shaping up to be a good year. Going to be an interesting year with the hardware launches as we roll up to that and hopefully see what PlayStation 5 is in the near future and hear some more about the new Xbox and maybe a new Switch too. Who knows?
Yeah.
But we'll be there for all of it. Right here at COG Connected and Press X the podcast. We'll have stories and things as time goes along.
It's going to be a big year, man. 2020. Like, here we go. It's going to be a big year.
Get hyped.
Yeah.
It's basically Blade Runner now. in real life.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
One of us is actually a replicant. So, readers, listeners, you can decide which one of the three is actually the replicant.
It's totally not me.
What a human response.
Yeah.
I made it with my human mouth.
Yeah, I think that's going to be where we have to cut it off. James just said my human mouth. But yeah, thanks for listening. We've been Paul, James, and Rhett from the COG Connected team. Join us here in a couple of weeks' time for episode 3.2. In the meantime, this has been episode 3.1. Thanks very much for listening. We'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.